Hi everybody, it's Connie and it's Wednesday at 2, and this week I almost decided not to do a live because I'm on vacation with Steve. You know, it's weird, I'm not working, so it doesn't really feel like vacation, but on the other hand, it feels like I'm on vacation. So that is such a weird thing. But having Steve home, and today is his birthday, so that's a big deal. And yesterday was our wedding anniversary, so we've had a lot to celebrate this week. Anyway, I was going to do the stamp of the month today because I am so excited about the stamp of the month. I love it so much. But I gotta tell you, in working on this house and trying to get my craft room organized, I have lost my stamp of the month. I had to order a new one. I can't believe I'm admitting that. But my room is such a disaster. It's buried in there. So at some point I'm gonna have an extra, and it'll probably be next week before I show the stamp of the month. There are so many cool ideas with it though. This right here is the catalog we're working out of right now. This is the July-September 2022. And then the core catalog for the new year you'll be getting near the end of this month. And it is awesome. I honestly believe, I talked to my upline who has been with the company like 32 years. And I've been with the company since 1997. And I think this is like my maybe second favorite core catalog in all that time. That is saying a lot, and it hurts a little bit financially, but yeah. Anyway, anyone who places an order after the 15th of this month will get one free in their order, just like you do when you order a catalog. So today, since I have to wait for my stamp of the month, and of course that shipment got delayed because FedEx has been delaying all my shipments for some reason, just driving me crazy. I decided to work with this cute little frog set. It's totally awesome. And I got the stamps and the thin cuts because I don't mind a little fussy cutting, but I didn't want to cut that image out every time I wanted to use this, so I went ahead and got the thin cuts with it. And I love this card, but I wanted to do my own twist on it. It's going to look very similar when we're done. But so I have two cards to show you using the cute little frog and a little bit different color version than that. So let me just put that aside for a moment. Here is my version, which I don't have this one glued together because we are going to be making one just like it. But there's my version. It's using blue because I like the blue with the yellow so much more than kind of the fall green, paprika, cinnamon kind of colors. So this is the card we're going to be making, and we're going to be using the slimline cards and envelopes, which I love having these. These are 3.5 by 8.5 in size. So let me set that aside. I love these cards. They're nice and sturdy. They're pre-scored. I love that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing, I went ahead and stamped my little froggy image and cut him out because I wanted to make sure the ink was nice and dry before I used markers to color him. So I'm going to start by coloring my frog. I know, again, you're going to be watching me color. That's kind of boring. So here's the deal. I colored him on this one using the Alpine Green blend. The Alpine Green blend has three, like one end is really light, and then there's a middle and a dark. And you can see it's more of a almost a grassier green. So that is one, one green you can use. The other green that I like to use is either, you can use light green or the dull green blend, and I'm going to go ahead and use dull. And I'm using the mid-tone, and I'm just going to put in like where he would be highlighted, like his belly, where I want lighter colors. Like I'm not going to do the whole thing in this color. So the dull green blend comes with the kit of the essential blends. And then there is the Alpine one comes with the deep blends. So there's 2 sets of markers. All right, I know this is like a fast coloring job. Now what you'll notice is I'm not being very careful, which is something that is nice about these markers. You don't have to be like super careful. Now there's a billion YouTubers out there who use Copics and alcohol markers, and they do all this major shading and blending and all of that, and I'm like, oh my gosh. For a card that someone may or may not keep, I'm just not sure that's worth it. So I went with the mid-tone and the dark, and then I'm just going to go back with my light, and I am just going to kind of blend over these colors so that it's not such a harsh transition. I know you can hear my marker squeaking. So I'm just blending those colors, especially on the lines where they meet. And what you're doing basically is adding more alcohol to that area so that the colors sort of meld together. I'm going to do a little bit more through there. And I really like how he looks. And then I'm going to use the darkest color to do just his little spots. So now you can see the difference between the dull green and the Alpine green. You know, depending on which marker you use, you get a totally different frog, right? Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead, while I have this dull green, I am going to go ahead and just, oh, this is Alpine. Guess I'll use Alpine green, and I'll do some of the leaves. Contrast is nice. And we will do, I'm doing these sort of fast, so you know, at home you might take a little more time. Okay, and then I have some pink that I'm gonna do on the flower. I like that these markers have a dark and a light, and you can do some blending like that. I think that's awesome. And then I have the citrus blend yellow. Now I kind of like the gold yellow. A little better than the citrus yellow. I'll show you what I'll hold them up side by side so you can see the difference. So this is citrus yellow. It's definitely more of a lemony yellow. Earth brown, and we're just gonna do the cattails. Cattails are so cool. have a ball field near us where the whole side of the ball field is cattails. Like there's a whole section where you could go, and I remember people used to put these in their houses all the time. I don't know if anyone still does. And then I have a little bit of ice blue blend. Ice blue is a nice color for highlighting. Like if you were not going to do anything with the eyes, you know, like just putting a little bit of something, even on the wings of the fly, just to show it that it's there. Okay, so here's my two frogs. So this one was done with the alpine, and this was done with the gold yellow. Same brown marker with a little more blending than this one. And then this was done with the citrus yellow. See the difference there? And then the dull green versus the alpine green. There's also light green, which I think I did my third frog in that color. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple other things to this frog. First of all, I know you're sick of the shimmer pen, but I love putting a little bit of shimmer on his wings like that. I just think in person you can kind of see how sparkly those wings are. I don't know if it's catching the light. So that's cool. The other thing I really like to do is I'm gonna put, I found that I liked eyeballs on the fly. And it didn't stamp with eyeballs, so I needed eyeballs on my fly. I also needed eyeballs on my frog. I don't know if any of you are like me, where you have like this huge jar full of wiggle eyes. I did a Halloween project once where I did a planter where I glued eyeballs all over it, you know, for Halloween, right? But I just thought this would be kind of a fun way to do the frog eyes. So see if I can get a couple of them out of here. I've been messing around with there. Oh, I got a bunch. Look at that. Okay. This lid comes off, so I usually just take the lid off because all the eyes are so big they won't fit through this little slot. But I do keep a lot of eyeballs in my closet. Surely you guys are just like that. Okay, so then I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on each eye and put a wiggle eye on each one. So googly eyes, yes, fit perfect on this frog. Look at that. Isn't it cute? I just love it, love it, love it. So that is adorable. I'm just gonna set that aside to dry while we do the rest of this background. Now, the easy way to do a background, what I did was I cut the background of this in Capri, and I did the 3.5 by 8.5 and just covered it. And then I cut this one a 1/4 inch smaller. So this one is 8.25 by 3.25. And you can do whichever side you want on that. You know, one side's lighter than the other. And so you just put that on there. And so I'm just stair-stepping these one size smaller, 1/4 inch smaller, so that there's a little border, you know, on each side. And then this one, a 1/4 inch smaller than that, which made this 3 by 8, right? Okay, now you could use Distress ink, but it's, in my opinion, a little easier, or just as easy, to use the inks that if you already have dye ink. This is Capri. And then I went ahead and I just cut some bumps out of some scratch paper. Now I have a cloud, an actual cloud stencil. And if you I'm just so lazy to get it out. So you can see I'm using it almost like a little mask. And then you're just basically making a cloudy sky, and by moving it around, you know, you're making your clouds a little different. And then near the bottom, I'm going to put my mask away, and I'm just going to kind of blend the whole thing with a little blue. So you can see that basically I'm making a sky, and you can see a lot of this will be covered, so you won't have to think about it too much. You could just sponge the sky. And then on the bottom I'm using green apple and one of the blending brushes. The blending brushes, I just wanted to show you how they work. So the difference with the blending brush versus this is this gives you kind of, you can see it's a little more of a splotchy kind of look, which looks great, but the blending brushes give a softer, well, blend. It's like the ink isn't quite so dark, I guess. And then always start kind of off the paper, and then you don't get that shape either. Like you don't get a big round shape or a... Okay, I'm putting these kind of together in the middle, blending together because the earth meets the sky. I don't want a big white stripe in there. All right, so there's that. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut some strips. Now in the catalog, they used a piece of shimmer strip right here. I decided not to do that and just do stripes. And the stripes don't have to be super long, but you want them all kind of the same size. The other thing that they did was they tore this side and they tore this, so it gives a torn edge, okay? And then throw that away. And then basically adhering this to this. Now, they overlapped the message so that it stuck out, but I like it more like this. So I'm going to do it more like that. And then you can see in this version, I just did the cut ends like I normally do. To cut those ends, you just line them up together, cut it, and then you just push this back a little and they'll match perfect. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope so. Okay, now I'm gonna cut my stripes to be about the same size as the yellow, and they don't have to be perfect because the frog will cover some of that up. I just don't want all this extra. And now I'm just gonna glue my pieces down. So here is the yellow. Have a totally awesome day right there. And then I'm gonna put just a real thin stripe of the blue, and you can decide which side you want, the darker or the lighter. And then the light blue, which you can decide which side you want to show. I think the darker one pops a little more. And I just left a little bit of space in between each one. So there's that. And now I'm ready for my frog. And you could pop him up or you could just attach him, and that's what I did. I just attached him. The cool thing about this frog is that it's a whole scene all in one. And you saw me color. It took very little time to color the whole thing and to even add the little Google eyes. It just didn't take long. Hi, Heather. I'm using your favorite color today. Look, yellow. And then this will go right onto this card base, just like that. See, it looks good with blue though, right? I love it. So I love how this looks. And then the other thing that I did, because it just felt like it needed something, is sequins. So I had some of the, I like to use my stash, you know. I had some of the bluebell sequins left over, and you know, these have silver and white and blue in there. And I was like, all right. This is the pickup tool, and it comes in the 2-pack, like 12 inches long, and I cut mine down just to make it easier to use. It's about the size of a golf pencil. Anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put a few dots of glue, and then I'm gonna use my pickup tool and glue down a few of the sequins like that. And I think I'm gonna put a couple down here too. I love this frog. I love this frog. It's so cute. And there's several messages on here. There's, oh, I put my finger right in the glue. There's one that is, it says, have a totally awesome day, which is the one I used. And then there's one that says, I'm so happy for you. And then there's one that says, you're unforgettable. Forgettable. I should show you that since I'm, you're unforgettable. Love it. It's so cute. Okay, so you can see I added a little detail to this one using grass. So you can use one of the greens, any of the greens that you like, and then I'll just use the light green blend since you haven't seen that one yet. And I am just, now I have grass stamps. I have a lot of them, but when you're in a hurry and you got your markers out, I mean, here I am with grass colored markers. So much easier. So you can see I'm just kind of, it's kind of like when you draw birds or something, you know, you're just scribbling to make some grass, and and it is just scribbling, but it does add to it. So this set is the Totally Awesome set, and you could cut it out every time. You wouldn't have to buy the thin cut. This is the only, you know, thin cut that comes with it, but it cuts the whole frog scene out, which is kind of nice. This is the card I'm recreating out of the catalog. That's this catalog. Ta-da! So I think I did pretty good on that, right? Here's their version, here's my version, and I just did my own thing a little bit by adding googly eyes, and I didn't use the shimmer trim, and they used distress oxides, and I used regular ink in different colors. So there's that, and different colors of markers. All right, so let's set that aside. And I want to show you a second card. This one I'm really excited about because I've been wanting to show it for a while. Oof. All right, I'm bringing in my scoreboard. You know that means it's going to be an interactive card of some kind, right? So basically, here is the basic card. It is a normal, I got all my little parts and pieces all over the place. Let me move them out of the way. So it's a normal card base, right? And you know, these normal card bases, I like to put them up to this ledge, and then you know both ends are even. I don't know, it just makes my cards nice without being wonky at the bottom. And so this card, basically, when you open it, you're adding a mechanism that makes it open like this, okay? And when you put your cool image in, here's my third image, you put your image on the little circle, and then when it opens, see it transfer, you can see it on the inside and the outside. And this card looks so complicated, but it's so easy. I can't wait to show you. So, simple card base, this is A2, it doesn't matter if you use a bigger one. And then you know how I am, I like to do, I covered the whole, you know, this is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I cover the entire card in yellow, okay? Now, when I put that on, you decide if you want light or dark. I want light. You just put the adhesive around the edge. I'll show you why. Okay. And again, I like to do this. It makes my card front nice and perfect. There we go. And then the green, now you'll notice when I used my green cardstock on the sample, it has white lines on it. So what I did was I took this green and I want the light side to show. So I'm going to flip it face down, light side down, because I want bumps on it. And I am going to score every inch, okay? And then I'm going to turn it and do score every inch. You could do this any way you want. I mean, like, this does not have to be inch squares. You could do any size, right? Now the other thing I have is this old sanding block. It is like an old nail file block, and you probably have some things like this in your house somewhere. But basically what I'm going to do is take that nail file, and when I run it across the top, it makes the color on the bumps go away. It distresses it a little bit. And you can even do like the edges a little more if you like the edges distressed, whatever you want. All right, look at that. That's how I got the white bumps. And then I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this. Now again, I only want adhesive around the edges. Again, I will show you why. All right, so basically I'm just making the front of my card. I'm just matting it. Ta-da, isn't that cute? Ta-da. All right, let me move some things out of my way and I will show you what I did next. Okay, now you guys are going to be like, what are you doing with the Spellbinder? I've been getting a lot of questions lately about die cutting, so I thought, well, I might as well show it. I use the Spellbinder. I got it for Christmas from Steve, and I like this. This is a magic mat. It is kind of like one of those you know, quilting mats, self-healing mats, but it doesn't warp and do weird things like some of the other cutting mats do that come with these machines. They just, like, if you use these clear mats as cutting mats, I made one cut on that one, they just warp and turn and stuff. It just drives me crazy. So I like the magic mat. They're relatively inexpensive. I think I got this one at scrapbook.com if you want to know. Okay, I'm opening my card back up. I have the shaker circle thin cuts. I cut separately a circle out of yellow for my frame. Okay, so I already have this one cut. I just wanted to show you the front of the card. This circle is a 3-inch circle, same size as the frame. Okay, they're both 3 inches, but I'm just going to use the plain 3 inches. I mean, you could use, if this is what you've got, you could use this, but you're not going to keep necessarily the frame. Okay, so I'm going to put this on here wherever I want. I'm just going to eyeball it. I don't want it like necessarily down here at the center. It could be anywhere if you want it up here so you can put a message, or you know, I just want it even from side to side. That's all. I don't care about how high up on the card it is or how down low it is. Okay, and then I am just going to run that through. This is 3 layers of cardstock, and so I'm going to run it through twice. I'm going to run it back and forth. Okay, and you can see it cuts no problem, and when you do that, you end up with your card. This is like your card, the yellow layer and the green layer, so you can do something with those later. I used this layer to make the card. These are just extra. Okay, so I'm gonna move this out of the way. I don't know how many of you really wanted to see that, but I feel like everybody's got their own die cut machine, and everybody has to use different little shims and things to make it work. Okay, so now we have our card. We have a big hole in our card, and we need to create this inside piece because it's the mechanism that makes the whole thing work. So this measures 5 inches by 6.5, okay? I just had some extra paper from one of my mix-in packs. So you can see, this is 6.5 by 5, right? So we're gonna put it down so it's long ways. It's a 6.5 mark, and we're gonna score at 1/2, right? Scored at 1/2, and then 2.5, and 4.5, and that's it. That's all. We're done with that. That's it. That's what you need to do. So you have this section right here, which is a valley, and then you have a mountain, and then your 1/2 inch is a valley. So we are folding it kind of like a W that's lopped off. Okay? So the next thing we need to do is adhere this inside the card, but when we do that, we want our card to lay flat as much as possible. It's kind of a weird card in that it doesn't, if you do it wrong, which I did this one wrong so I can show you, it doesn't lay flat. See how I have that big gap, and my card will not lay flat. So it's not the end of the world. It still works just fine, and it looks great, and the person who opens it would probably never know any different. But ideally, you would want it to lay flat. So I'm gonna line up this score line of my card with this score line right here. I don't want to change the direction of my fold. I still want it to be a mountain. I just want it lined up, okay? And then here's where I put glue. So right here, I put adhesive. All right? I don't know if you need that much, but as long as this score is lined, and then you just lay this down, and so the only thing adhered is that one little part. But now, look at that. It lines up all nice. And now I'm going to fold it back up. I'm going to fold that. I'm going to fold this back. So the W is adhered to the inside of the card. And I'm going to fold my card. And doesn't that look weird? Okay, but that's what we want. And think of this little 1/2 inch thing as like a flap. So on this flap, I'm going to make a mark at the top and bottom of my circle. See that? And then all I'm going to do is open it back up, and I'm going to mark those marks just like that. I'm cutting those. Now, this middle part is in the way. We don't need it, but instead of cutting it off, I'm just gonna adhere it to get out of the way this way. See? Because these are the flaps I want. This flap and this flap. Okay. Now, when we adhere these to the card, it is going to, we don't want them to show. So just kind of tuck those back a little bit, and we're gonna adhere them down. So now we're putting adhesive on the flaps here and here. Okay? So I'm just gonna use my liquid glue. There you go. And we're gonna fold that over. Actually, there, like that. That goes down, and that goes down. And I'm just gonna hold that for a moment. My liquid glue is pretty quick. And then, so here's what you've got. This is what it looks like from the side. The flaps, you can see from the inside, the flaps are right there. And from the top, you can see that flap on the inside. It's right there. It looks like this from the top of the card. That's basically it. Now it's just decorating it. So now I'm just gonna do a little making sure everything folds nice. Like, you know how sometimes you get like a little buckle or a little something. We want everything to fold nice and crisp. And so I'm just gonna fold using my score, just so everything kind of works the way it's supposed to and lays nice and flat. All right, so remember how I have this circle and the frame? The circle was basically the base of the card that I cut out. And I'm just going to get my blue ink again, and I'm just going to sponge that. Let me find some scratch paper again. I had some out here, but I don't know what I did with it. I'll use it with my clouds. So I am just going to, I hope I'm in screen here. It's a little hard sometimes to work in a tight space of where my camera is at and still get close enough where you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so basically I sponged it blue. Okay, and then I am just going to glue my circle on. I'm making my frame. Sometimes I just have to put a weight on there for a minute. So earlier I cut and colored this frog. You saw me do it. I added the wiggle eyes. This is the one I just, colored. Okay, there's my frame. Now, this is where if you're gonna mess up, this is where you're gonna mess up, because this is pretty basic once you understand how the flaps glue on. You only want to adhere this circle right here. That's it. You only want adhesive right here and then this circle gets applied. Now that seems very basic, but it's very tempting to put glue all over the back of this and stick it down, and then your card will not open. It will stick to the back of your card and to your mechanism. So you only want adhesive on half, and normally I put glue, you know, on the circle. But this time I am going to put the glue here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my circle there. Now you really want this circle to be inside of your cut circle on the face of your card. So you want to put the frame inside so that it'll swivel. If it's not on the inside over here, it won't pop in and out of your card. Like if you get it a little off, it will get hung up. Like I tried it with a star for 4th of July, and the star, it takes a little more effort to get the star to pop through the star-shaped opening. So a circle, a square, best. Okay. Now we're decorating with the frog. Now when you put your decoration on, if you put the decoration too far where it hangs over the circle on the right side, it won't open. It just won't go through the hole. So if you have anything hanging over, it needs to hang over on the left, like that, okay? And then it won't get messed up by the mechanism. So do not put anything can hang over on this side, anywhere, like that. But you can't have it over here. This side needs to be free. So I am going to put adhesive on my frog. I'm using liquid again on this. I wouldn't have to. And I'm just going to put him just like that. And notice I put him over to the side, but not off the side. Okay. Now when the card opens, you can see it flips. Isn't that cool? So this card is one that I have done several of, and I'm looking forward to making this card with the stamp of the month, because the stamp of the month set works amazing with these circles, because all of the little images of the stamp of the month fit so perfect. Let me just kind of show you. So you could do, you know, the turtle, the seagull, the fish, like all of the images would look amazing inside that circle. And you could even make this look like a porthole and put that, you know, make it watery. I just think it's a cool idea. Now on the inside, now you can see your card lays flat. As opposed to my mock-up one that did not lay flat. But I went ahead and I just cut a little piece of cardstock to put in here for a message. Just like, I just cut it, you know, a little smaller. I didn't measure even, I just cut a piece so I would have something in it. And then I thought, on this frog stamp that I stamped a couple of extra little flies, and I fussy cut them out. So I would have a couple of extra little flies, and then I cut out the cattails here also, and I thought, isn't that adorable? So I thought that would be a cute way to decorate the inside without getting out another set, without doing anything else. I mean, you know, it only took me a moment. And again, on my flies, I couldn't resist putting eyeballs on my flies. I love my flies. Do you see how I put eyeballs on them? I just think they're really cute. And so you could do anything you wanted here. You could even sponge, you know, a little extra green at the bottom. And then I used one of my markers to go over the word totally. Have a totally awesome day. And you could put stuff here too if you wanted to. I just think that's really, really cute. Could use happy birthday, have a totally awesome day. Isn't that great? So these are the two cards that I wanted to show you today with the frogs. I haven't even attached this yet. I need to attach this. This is getting on my nerves to be loose. Make sure I'm opening my card the right direction. So this is one just like the inside of the catalog, but in my colors, and then this one with the flippies. Fun, fun, fun. Now this is club month and there are tons of things to order. It's a little overwhelming. There's lots of really cool new paper packs and new stamps. And then in a month, or you know, a couple weeks, we have the core catalog coming out, and that's overwhelming because we love everything. Yeah, that's how we are. So it's going to be a little hard for me to decide what to show. I'm holding off on the fall stuff for just a little bit because it's still quite hot, and I can wait. The mix-in pack is a really nice addition if you're making cards. I bought this robot set. I love it. I'm thinking about this because I have some other farm style stamps that'll go with it. I saw an adorable, I have the little fox. I think I may show that soon. Several people have already purchased the tea set. This has been a very popular set already. I think I've sold 4 or 5 of them already, which surprised me, but this is a favorite of many. And it's nice because it's solid. There's no coloring. And so, yeah, it's interesting. I like the idea of, this is the one I showed last week, and it goes great with the stamp of the month, and you know, with the little seagull, with the little crab. I mean, there's a lot of little ideas with that one. So, I just need my stamp of the month. I've torn my whole room apart looking for it. I do not know where I put it. I will not be showing this stamp of the month just because I personally don't have a use for a teacher set. Although, I gotta tell ya, some of the consultants have made some really cool things with that already, and they're not all teacher related, so it's like, ugh, please don't sell me on that. Okay, that is it today. Thanks, and have a totally awesome day. Do you love that? See you later.